Hello everyone, and welcome to my garden here in Somerset, England, in the southwest of the country, on this fairly mild yet drizzly day in December. A few things that I have had to wear and do, which is obligatory for this time of the year: a cup of tea, of course, a Christmas jumper, and all the things we will need to be planting up a hanging basket, which is arguably quite controversial, I guess, with spring bulbs. I don't know if people often do that. I've done it a few times to some success, and I guess it really just depends on what you want from it, what you want to plant in it. My advice would be not to plant too many tall, very tall growing bulbs, but rather sort of more the compact variety. So I will demonstrate in a few moments what I will be planting. Just a bit of background. On this channel, my idea is to really get going with people that are amateur gardeners, just like I am, that really just want to do it for the fun of doing it, that might be struggling with certain things. So I'll be covering a host of different topics and perhaps just showing you the do's and don'ts, and just going on this journey together, because there is a lot to learn and a lot to see, and yeah, no one ever does it perfectly, so that's part of the fun of it. So yes, my name is Keith, and I will be showing you how I garden. You'll be seeing cats in the background, you'll be hearing birds in the background most likely. It's just me gardening in my garden. So on that note, let me show you this hanging basket. So I've pre-filled it about a third way with some multi-purpose growing media, or compost, however you prefer to call it. It's quite airy and fibrous-y, which is going to be good for root growth, and also because I'm planting it quite late in the year, when it does start raining more and more and more, it is going to maintain a lot of moisture, so we don't want the roots to sit in the moisture, which ultimately causes them to rot. So yes, a very fibrous-y sort of flaky growing media, I would say, is the best. And you may or may not know, but when you plant up a pot or a hanging basket full of spring flowering bulbs, the ideal is to have the biggest bulbs at the bottom and then to layer it up into what is commonly known as a lasagna. So I shall start with the tulips, because in this case the tulips are the biggest bulbs compared to the smaller daffodils. Sometimes the daffodils are bigger and then you plant them at the bottom, and the tulips are slightly smaller, so you plant them above them. It doesn't really matter in my experience. As long as they've got enough depth, they will just find their way up and grow accordingly. So let me actually then start with the tulips. This is a variety that doesn't get too tall, so it would be quite well suited to the hanging basket, and you can really cram them in. Now I've got 10 here. I could try and use all 10, or I could preferably do odd numbers. I'm going to try and see if I can get all 10 in, otherwise I'm going to have to find a spot for the remaining few, which is never ideal. So rather have too many than too few in a smaller space. The impact is just that much bigger. So there you go. I put them in rather firmly, space them out. The only thing is you don't really want them touching each other, but other than that they can be crammed in really quite heavily. Okay, so that's layer 1 done. I'm happy with that, so I'm just going to fill it up with some compost, because above that I want to then plant the daffodils. Now, it is arguably quite late in the year to be planting bulbs, especially daffodils or narcissi, as they're known, but my motto is always rather late than never. Tulips are pretty okay to go. You can see on my channel, I've made a video of planting tulips, which it is late-ish in the year, but they will just grow away. They might flower slightly later than normal, but the point is they will still flower. Right, so I've put a layer of compost down just to cover those first bulbs up. Next will be the daffodils. It is arguably fairly shallow for what I'm doing. They normally suggest 2 to 3 times the depth of the bulb, and I would say this is probably just getting to 2, so it'll be touch and go, but that's the excitement of gardening, and this is why I'm doing this channel. So if, like me, you're not always 100% confident in what you're doing, and just, learn as you go, please do like and subscribe. I would love to go on this journey with you all, to experience it. I sincerely hope you cannot hear all that background noise, because there are builders next door and they're busy. They're pretty busy. So fingers crossed. Right, that one's done. I shall put a layer of compost down for them. And then I've got one more bulb sort type that I would like to plant. I've never grown it before. It's called anemone sulfide. So it is a slightly bigger flowering anemone to your woodland anemone. I'm quite excited to grow it, and like I said, it would be a first for me. Now, these little bulbs are quite small, so they really can just be tucked into the top layer. I can show you. Really quite small, so very oddly shaped. Not exactly sure what would be the right orientation, but again, get them in, and if they work, they work. If they don't, lesson learned. But the thing with gardening really is, most of the time it's much easier than you think. Things really do just do what they do. That's nature for you. I think we have the tendency as humans to try and intervene a bit too much, to try and control everything we do, and sometimes it is just best to get going with it, rather do the actioning and let nature take control of the rest. But the point is not to overcomplicate it, and that's also part of the fun, is to just really have fun with what you're doing, and to then enjoy the experience, and to learn from the mistakes and from the successes, and to actually celebrate both, because it's pretty epic if things work out well. There you go. So I've just tucked them into the very top layer. I'll put a small layer above that of compost, or a thin layer at least. And normally, for a hanging basket, what would be ideal is to actually have some sort of pot topper that brings in a bit of instant color to fit in at the very top, overlaying the bulbs. I've unfortunately run out of plants. I no longer have flowering pansies or primulas to go into the top. So it's going to look slightly bare for a while, but very soon the green growth will start coming through, and then it won't look as empty. So I'll be hanging this up on a hook. What I'll first do, and what you should do too, is just give it a light watering, just to settle the compost in, to let the bulbs absorb the moisture. Make sure it runs through just a speckle of water like that, and then just leave it be. Once you notice the top layer getting quite dry, perhaps a bit crusty, feel free to water then. But here in the UK, because it does rain a lot in winter, if I just leave it in its position, the rain and the moisture will just do what it does. And then come spring, as the weather warms up, you just keep watering and enjoying the growth, because I'm absolutely sure this will be a success. And if you want to see whether it's a success or not, like I said, please like and subscribe. Make sure to follow the page, and you will see all the information, and I will definitely make a follow-up video on this. And that's it. Slightly controversial, I guess, planting bulbs in a hanging basket. So let's see what happens. We're here to blunder and eventually to bloom. So thank you very much for joining, and I'll catch you next time. Have a fantastic December. Remember to always wear your Christmas jumper, which gets you in the spirit, and never to garden without a cup of tea. Until later, cheers.